Rural communities, we know they often face barriers to vital resources and services. Well, our next guest is a singer-songwriter who unfortunately has had firsthand experience with a lack of EMS and ambulance access in Montana. He's now on a mission to improve rural emergency medical services. And we welcome him to the program, Tim Montana. Tim, thank you so much for being here. I know the story. I watched it online. I saw the story. I cannot imagine the hopelessness that you felt not being able to help this young man. So give us a little background to those who may not know. Tell us what happened and when did this happen?
Yeah, good morning, Suzanne. Thanks for having me. It was the early morning hours of September 7th. I was here in Wise River, Montana, and got a call from my neighbor that there was a gunshot wound to one of my rancher neighbor boys. So of course I sprung into action, didn't know what I was walking into. Get there, they had already raced him to the Anaconda, Montana emergency room. And so I got his brother, his uncle. I took over driving because obviously they were a wreck, and got them safely to the hospital. And we know we're in rural Montana. That's why the mother took action into her own hands, because it was a gunshot wound to the head, unfortunately. So she raced him to the hospital. But when you get to the hospital, you think they have you covered, right? And that hospital, huge thanks to the nurses and doctors. They did everything they could. He's still alive, but they couldn't get a transfer to a trauma center. And an hour went by, 2 hours went by, 4.5 hours. I watched a mother over her 18-year-old boy with a gunshot wound in his brain. And I even saw the ER doctor break down, and he's crying, and he's like, man, I've never seen anything like this in my career. And the wildfire smoke was too thick for a helicopter, but there was no ground transportation available. So finally, around 5:30 or 6 in the morning, they located a fixed wing aircraft in Helena, Montana, where a trauma crew flew in. And again, this is 4.5 hours of him laying in a hospital bed that could not treat his brain injury. And they got him to Hamilton, Montana, because the Missoula, Montana runway was shut down for work that day. So then they had to transfer him to an ambulance in Hamilton that then drove him there. And guess who beat the gunshot wound to the hospital? The family. And I was like, this is a major problem. I put a video online. It's had over 300,000 views. I've had thousands of messages from rural people that same stories. My husband was in a car accident. The ambulance stopped at the county line, couldn't go any further. And I didn't realize what a mess this was. And, rural America is the heartbeat of America. Our farmers, ranchers, miners, they need access to care. We do dangerous jobs out here. And, again, we're aware that we're a ways from the ER, but when we got him there, we'd assume that they'd have a system in place to make sure he got the care he needed. And at times like that, you need miracles and proper care. And fortunately, he survived on a miracle alone. But I don't want other families to have to go through what that family went through and what I witnessed on the morning of September 7th.
Tim, again, to reiterate for folks just joining us, that young man, that 18-year-old boy, is okay. Is he still in the hospital?
He's still in, Salt Lake City Trauma Center. I stopped and saw him the other day, and he was joking with me and thanked me for being there for him. And I about fainted when I walked in, because after seeing him that night, I was praying hard for him, but I'm like, I just thought there's no way you don't survive this. And I was, when I said goodbye, I thought that was it. And I walked in his hospital room, and he's messing with me and threw a ball at me. And I was just like, you have no idea how fortunate you are to be alive. I don't want this to happen to other families. We need to have, and EMS is considered non-essential in the state of Montana. There's zero funding. Most of our caretakers are over 50 years old. There's no one volunteering anymore. Like, there's massive gaps, and we have to do something we can do better to allocate tax dollars to raise awareness, because all the people that want a vacation in these rural states, I promise you, they have no idea that there might not be help coming if you get hurt.
Right. And you mentioned just the challenge after challenge. It was the smoke. You get to the hospital, they don't have the right equipment there because it's a smaller hospital. So clearly you've been talking about this, and I got online. I saw a lot of people commenting that are in EMS or do work for hospitals in rural areas. So at this point, Tim, what's the next step? Obviously, improvements need to happen. So where do we stand right now as you continue to advocate?
Yeah, I went to Helena, Montana, and spoke with our lawmakers, and enough people showed up to get them to elevate this. So they're looking at this right now. It's a study bill, interim study bill. They were addressing it. It's died before on the floor, unfortunately. So this time they took some points from another bill, elevated this one, but public testimony and people screaming their heads off is what's going to fix this. And so we're going again November 5th to Helena, Montana. A ton of first responders showed up. We need testimony. We need first responders. We want to pay our first responders a competitive wage. I don't want the pizza delivery guy getting paid more. I love pizza, but I want the paramedic to be paid a little more than the pizza guy. Come on, people. We got to take care of that, and it's deeming it an essential service and attaching money to it, like allocating tax dollars to go to it. And it can be county level, state level, federal level, but the fact that it has no funding is crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is very much crazy. And I know that these EMS workers, they don't get a lot of money, so that needs to happen. The infrastructure needs to be there. You have an incredible platform as a singer-songwriter, performing throughout the country and having that stage, having that platform, doing what you do. You are doing it. And anything that we can do to help as well. Keep us in tune to everything that is going as it continues to progress. But thank God that young man is okay. And thank you for doing all that you can and bringing a spotlight to this problem for many people across rural America. It needs to happen. Change needs to come. Thank you, Tim. Singer-songwriter Tim Montana doing all that he can for change.